On November 1st and 2nd, the Edge Life Expo and Events is coming to the Earl Brown Heritage Center in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. And they are bringing with them many keynote speakers, including Catherine Hardwicke in her final public performance. There will also be over 40 speakers, psychics, and so much more. For more information, go to edgelife.net.
My name is Gary Beckman. I'm the producer of the Edge Life Expos. I'll see you at the event.
My name is Cedric Redfeather. My Indian name is Apasanamak, which means the Red Feather Man. I'm tribally enrolled on Fort Berthold in North Dakota. I'm a Vietnam vet. I was wounded in Vietnam. I have a Purple Heart Gallantry Cross. I graduated from Minot State University with a BA in art. I went to school in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the Institute of American Indian Arts. I went to school at Savannah College of Art and Design, which I really love art. My whole life and goal was to be an artist. And I got a scholarship at the University of Memphis to work on my master's degree. And it was while in Memphis working on my master's, a spirit man came to me and he said to me, "You're here to do the work, you're not here to paint." So ever since then I've been doing spiritual work, and it's taken me many places across this country, many people I've met, and it's so exciting about doing the spiritual because we're all traveling this road, regardless of where we think we're going or who we've been or what religion. We're all journeys and we're all travelers on the same journey. And the more we understand it, we start to recognize and be connected to each individual, that we are all connected. Like, I guess you would call it dots, like little dots put together, we're all connected. And the more you understand that it's easy to love another person, it's almost like common to be generous with another person. And you start to see the difference between light and darkness. You start to see the difference between love and hatred and jealousies and prejudice. And you care for one another. That's my whole goal and my purpose as a turtle priest nowadays. This is the book I have written called Mandan Dreams. And it's a story about my journey of how I got into being a turtle priest, which I didn't want to do in the beginning, which was, it came upon me as the youngest son of a Luptade Mandan to fulfill the prophecies. And this is the story in this book about the Mandans, their history, and some prophecies, and where we're going. The story is about the family, about my brothers. We are 7 brothers who are the dipper in the sky. And I talk about those, and it's in the book. The Fargo Expo, Edge Life Expo in Fargo, it's about metaphysical, holistical health. It's about people being connected. It's about psychics and mediums, tarot card readers, people into matrix energetics. And my point and my purpose of being a part of the expo is I'm a turtle priest, and I'm going to share prophecies with the people. And my talk is going to be about the prophecies. It's going to be about the 7 brothers and the Big Dipper. My family, my mom and dad had 7 boys, and we are the 7 sons of the Big Dipper. We are also connected to the 7 medicine stones. There are 7s in many things in life, in many cultures. For example, in the Bible, they talk about the 7 churches. They talk about, Edgar Cayce talks about the 7 ages of a person's spirit and soul. There are 7s in many things in life, 7 dwarfs, you know. There's 7 sisters in the Pedalians, those stars. So I talk about the 7s and the significance of what it means also. Native American spirituality. You cannot label it and categorize it with each tribe because there are over 500 Native American tribes in the USA. And each tribe has their own way or own protocols or cultures or traditions. And yeah, Native American spirituality is old. It's as old as the stones, old as the rocks, old as the trees. And true Native spirituality is being connected with all things at one time, with all the stars, all the stones, all the animals. When you're connected with them, that's when birds talk to you, that's when animals come up to you. And you can walk up to a deer and pet the deer because you're one with all nature. And being one with all nature, you start to respect it, take care of it. We are the children that dance upon grandmother's back. When we say that when we dance. And we are part of Mother Earth. She accepts us as her children. And the changes that are happening in the world today don't affect us or bother us because we are her children and she watches us always, as Father Sky watches over us also.
On November 1st and 2nd, the Edge Life Expo and Events is coming to the Earl Brown Heritage Center in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. And they are bringing with them many keynote speakers, including Catherine Hardwick in her final public performance. There will also be over 40 speakers, psychics, and so much more. For more information, go to edgelife.net.
My name is Gary Beckman. I'm the producer of the Edge Life Expos. I'll see you at the event.
Death. It's one of the most difficult experiences that we will ever walk through in this physical journey. To be able to come from a place of love instead of a place of pain, if we choose to see it that way. One of the greatest struggles for many people in the death process is knowing what to say. What do you say to someone who has lost their loved one, their beloved, their mother, their sister, their best friend? What do you say? What do you do? How do you respond? These are just some of the questions that people have when somebody has recently died. And these are questions I'll address in my new book, The Love Never Ends, Messages from the Other Side. I began having conscious experiences with the spirit world as a young teenager. I'd felt the spirit world for many years, but I wasn't really aware of what it was, or what it even was that I was feeling, and I didn't even understand it. The experiences were infrequent, and I knew I felt a presence, but beyond that, I didn't have a clue. I believe we are here, on this physical planet, to love and be loved. Period. When our physical body dies, the love lives on. Not only in the memories that we have of our dearly departed ones, but in our day-to-day experiences with their spirit. The love that they have for us is also evident in our everyday life, if we can just learn their new language. For most people, the absolute answer to releasing the fear of death will come when there's a complete conviction that life never ends, that love never ends even, that life and love are eternal. In my new book, I will teach you how to release the fears so that you can tap into your own psychic gifts and truly feel your loved ones around you. I'll teach you how to spot the signs that your loved ones are trying to connect with you, the ways that spirit shows up in our lives. I'll help you to discover the messages that spirit is leaving just for you. This is why I no longer fear death, not because I look forward to it, but because I know without a shadow of a doubt that the afterlife exists, that the spirit world is there, just waiting for us to open up and to connect with them. So come along with me as I take your hand and share with you the lessons I've learned from the spirit world. Let's live from the place of love. Let's be willing to ask for and receive the help from the spirit world. It can start today. Are you in? Yes? I'll see you there, where the love never ends.
Hello, my name is John DeSalvo, and I want to tell you a little bit about the talk that I'll be giving this year at the Life Expo. The title is Voodoo Magic, Marie Laveau, An American Horror Story. And this is going to be the first time I ever give a talk on this subject. Before I do that, I do want to mention I'm usually noted for my work on Enochian magic. And I've written several books on Enochian magic, published by Inner Traditions, and I've also written several books on ancient mysteries published by Barnes & Noble. So for some reason I got interested in Marie Laveau, the famous voodoo queen of New Orleans in the 19th century. And the more I researched her, I realized what she was doing and what voodoo actually is a form of Enochian magic. But it was hidden under the guise of voodoo because it was a very secret way of doing it. And I feel I've discovered some pioneering ideas in terms of what voodoo really is. And I'm going to be presenting those for the first time.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people like me. What you truly believe is in that unconscious part. And your adult defense mechanisms is what stops you from tapping into that. But the moment we accept that's not real and we get pissed about that and go, oh, I want that, I want real love, then that's the time you put the work in to actually have it. Our self-love begins to break down from the moment we hear the first negative unconscious message that we should not appreciate ourselves. Oh, I went through daily rituals of being beat up, shoved in lockers, thrown in dumpsters, head flushed in the toilet, and sexually abused until I was 13 years old. And home life wasn't any safer because I was blessed with the ability to sing and act and dance, and I discovered that very early on as a kid. That's what kept me alive. What did the Zen Buddhist say to the hot dog vendor in New York? Make me one with everything. Do you think the Dalai Lama goes running up to that father and grabs him by the shoulder and says, "Stop beating that kid before I smack you"? He wouldn't do that. I love when that happens. So once you acknowledge and allow yourself to feel what you're meant to feel, you'll disempower the blockage and you'll immediately connect to that greatest source of you, and you can use all your gifts to create the life that you want. I give you the ability to see your magnificence and believe in yourself, so you can use your divinely endowed gifts to create the life and fulfill the dreams you want. And you have to understand that you're not believing what you really think you believe.
In the year 2000, I was diagnosed with a condition that surprised me because I believed I had done all the things in my life to lead a healthy and vital and active life. I was told that I had a tumor inside my body that shouldn't be there, and that surgery had to happen immediately. And I listened to what the doctor said to me, and I said, give me a couple of weeks. It was an opportunity for me to go deep within, examine my beliefs, look at all the things that I've learned, all the people that I've studied with, the times in the monasteries of Tibet and the indigenous peoples throughout the world, all of which define a relationship that we have with our bodies. And what I said is, this relationship is true. Now is the time for me to apply this in my life. To make a long story very brief, 2 weeks later, I was in the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida, and I actually went into the operating room, and when I woke up, the doctor looked at me and he said, "Why are you here?" He said, "What we believed we had to remove from your body does not exist. It no longer exists." And I'm sharing this story with you for a reason. I didn't have to have that experience, but I think it was important for me to have that experience because it taught me that I have the ability to transcend even the darkest moments, the darkest predictions of what others think and believe about me and my body. And because I personally had that experience, I can look at you in the eye, human to human, eye to eye, heart to heart, God to God, and what I can say to you is beyond any doubt, I know that we were born and put onto this earth with the ability to transcend the great crises, the great challenges in our lives, and it begins with us understanding that we are born healing. Some people say that we are born and we begin dying the moment we're born. What I know is that every cell in our body is constantly healing and repairing itself. If we step out of the way and allow our bodies to do what they're designed to do, that's what opens the door to healthy, vital, loving, productive lives. So I'm going to invite you to allow for this possibility in your life if you haven't as well. You can heal your life.
Hello, my name's Gary Beckman. I'm the producer of the Minneapolis Holistic Expo, which is coming up November 1st and 2nd. And today it is my pleasure to interview and discuss topics of the times and topics of the future. Catherine, what has really come across both of our desks and both of our consciousness is, why are we here? That's one. The other item that's really come up and is of great importance to the general public is this Ebola item that's in the news all over it at this time, and which is beautiful. The majority of the American people are concerned, but they're not hyper or neurotic about it and want to fight it. They're just there. Now, my question again is that what do you sense and feel that is a thread that is going through our location, the Upper Midwest? Could you share some things with us?
Sure. In regard to disease, is Ebola or?
For the like changing of the times, we both talked that many people will say, "Why am I here? Why are we here?"
Yeah, let's start with that.
Okay.
Because we live in interesting times, and we come. This is my understanding of how this works. We come to the earth deliberately. We come here for all sorts of purposes. So it's, but primarily we come here, what my guides tell me and what I have come to believe, is we come here to learn to be joyful in all circumstances. And more of us are coming, and there's getting more and more people in the world, because it's a far more interesting place to live than it was, say, 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. There's just a lot going on. So people ask me all the time, and I've been doing intuitive mystical work for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. People ask me all the time, what's my life's purpose? And what I will say is, in a very broad sort of way, everybody's life purpose is to be joyful no matter where they're at.
That's correct.
And because I just had an email a few days ago from someone who said, why in the world would we come here when we can be in spirit where we're joyful all the time? Why would we come here? And I said, well, that's part of the challenge. We're all adventurers. We're in some fashion, we're all rebels, and we're all crazy people. And we come here because we want to be able to prove to ourselves, perhaps, and to learn that joy can be found anywhere. And so, for some people, they will pick very specific family issues to learn how to be joyful there, or at least attempt to. Other people go to places in the world that are really kind of horrendous, because that's a really, really big challenge. Others, for whatever reason, will take a different or an easier route. So that's a very quick answer to why we're here. My guides tell me coming to Earth is like watching a movie. It's a very, very short thing. And in the life of a spirit, it's a very short time there. Or maybe it's more like taking a roller coaster ride. It seems crazy. But I personally don't like roller coaster rides. But until I look at people.
It steady and smooth
I do. I like it steady and
gradually?
smooth, and I don't particularly want to jump out of airplanes, but some people do. But coming to Earth is the spirit's equivalent of jumping out of an airplane, knowing that that's only just a very, very short part of who we truly are.
You mentioned, or they were, why are we here? And when we discussed that a little bit before we started this, is that there's something called group consciousness. And the belief in this area is group consciousness, like the 100th monkey. You get 1,000, 2,000, 5 million people, and that group consciousness creates our current or present reality. If it creates our present reality, and they have, why are we here? Would they not make decisions and choices to go in that direction to improve or find themselves? Everything comes from within, why they are here.
Yeah, and we live in a free will universe. It's one of the rules of Earth. is that once you get here, you can forget all about why you came here if you don't want, if you want to, and you can do whatever you want to while you're here. So we do have a group consciousness, but we're not forced into anything, and so yes, I think what's happening right now in the world, and it's very exciting to me, is that if enough people develop intuitive ability, which I see massive amounts of,
amen.
that it's become far more accepted, and it's become far more common, and I think that's like your 100th monkey thing, where people are learning. But there'll always be people who say, no, I don't want to do that, that's too scary for me, and they have the right. They have the absolute right, because of it's a free will universe, you get to do that.
You know, we could go on, and this we did not discuss, free will. I really have a question that the human race as such has free will because of the structures that have placed around us in the governments, education, certain societies, financial institutions. It seems to limit the free will of the human race, specifically in the Western world, where they do have choices. You go into some of the more unfortunate nations, I'll take Africa as an example, that they don't have choices. Their choices there primarily are we have to get the food to eat today.
But that's still a choice.
Yep, that's their, and so they look at the other choices. It's not in their vision. But as I said, we could talk 2 hours on that.
We could, yeah.
You agree with that?
I don't agree with. I agree that we have free will. Certainly, people in prison. I mean, are limited options. But even in the most dire of circumstances, people have free will in some fashion. Yeah. And so I don't. I'm not. And people, I know there are people who will argue with me about this one. You know, I don't think there's a karmic fate that we follow that keeps us from being able to change our past. What I think happens, though, is that an awful lot of people try to change other people's paths, and that's where we get into trouble, because the only person we really can change is ourselves. We can influence other people.
That's curious. I answered my own question about you just did in combination. If the individual, what we offer at our events, are willing to set a future of how they can get the answer from within. The answers from within can change our lives, our perceptions, which are the biggest, and that's one thing that Catherine and Echo Bodine are going to discuss as we, in the event, their event on November 1st. Catherine, which brings to my mind is that there seems to be more and newer people in our events thus far in 2014. A younger group is attending, which I'm very, very happy to see. People that are in their 50s and 60s that have always hoo-hooed what we can call a holistic or spiritual movement are coming, looking. Do you have thoughts on that?
Well, you know, we talked a little bit about this, and so I just told you that this is really going to be my last event. That I'm retiring, and
I'll elaborate on that.
Yeah, and yeah, he'll elaborate on my retirement. That'll be interesting here. But in any event, I do think that gradually it has to happen that the younger generation, if it's going to continue to be of interest to anybody, the younger generation will need to be
step forward.
And some of us just need to step back, I guess, at that point too. And that's simply the way that the world operates everywhere. It's an interesting dilemma in our society, that because there are so many people who are still very young, in their 70s and 80s, they don't want to quit working. You. Yeah, well, you know, I wasn't going to start talking, not kidding. But I mean, we're not ready to quit working, and yet, it's that's a new phenomenon, social phenomenon.
Yes.
To have people who really are still working, and a lot of younger people who simply aren't getting the chances. So it's there's all sorts of interesting things in this world, aren't there?
Well, thanks, Catherine.
You're welcome.
This is one reason that I started the Edge magazine and doing what I'm doing, is that make available for the general public, all walks of life. There's choices. There's choices. There's a top 10, and then there's 90 more. The belief system that fits you, you're comfortable with, that's what Catherine will talk about, that's what Echo Bodine will talk about, that's what my other speakers will talk about. But let's do one thing. Catherine always said there's a news bulletin, or I wrote the news bulletin, is that this will be her last public speaking event this coming weekend. And they will be there Saturday, November 1st. And that we have set up an extremely, actually Catherine set up and Echo Bodine set up, you will get a 3x5 card when you arrive. You will write on there the question that you would like to ask, one, both, or the other. And we've never done that before. You'll get that at the door. What we will likely find out is that there's going to be 30 or 40 with the same request, maybe even 100 with the same request but a deviation one way or the other. So we are excited about this. I'm very excited. I'm not excited about her deciding to step down, but like she said, there's a time.
There's a time.
When the time is right, you do it. And I think she's a very wise lady, and I have been struggling with speakers in what we do, and leaders and teachers. And it is the new generation, the younger people, not new gen, younger people to me are 50. They are. 40, 30, 20, they're really young. But to step forward and to grab their walking stick, the walking stick, and to help their fellow man, and to really help themselves, and to help us who happen to be a couple years older than they are. So please join us. Catherine Harwick and Echo Lee Bodine will be there on November 1st at Earl Brown Heritage Center in Brooklyn Center.
On November 1st and 2nd, the Edge Life Expo and Events is coming to the Earl Brown Heritage Center in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. And they are bringing with them many keynote speakers, including Catherine Harwick in her final public performance. There will also be over 40 speakers, psychics, and so much more. For more information, go to edgelife.net.
My name is Gary Beckman. I'm the producer of the Edge Life Expos. I'll see you at the event.